everyone, and welcome back to Anne's Family Recipe. Do you love taco night and also the flavors of the Mediterranean? Today's recipe is for you. We're making Greek tacos. If you're new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe. It's free to do, and you'll get notified anytime I post a new video or YouTube short, which I've been doing a lot of lately. Those are fun. And give this video a thumbs up if you like it. Let's get cooking. First up for these Greek tacos, I'm dicing up 1 onion that I'm going to saute with the ground meat. So this recipe is inspired by Jeff Morrow, who had a show on the Food Network many years ago called The Sandwich King. And while I loved so many of those recipes, this one stood out as a favorite. It's inspired by a gyro, or gyro, as some might say, but it's like a seasoned meat with a tomato and cucumber relish and then a creamy yogurt dressing as well. It's delicious. So here I am browning up a couple pounds of ground beef and a little bit of olive oil along with those onions, and I'm seasoning it with some salt, pepper, and dried oregano. Next, I'm prepping my garlic cloves, some of which I'll add to the ground beef, and the rest are going to go in the creamy yogurt sauce. So you can see I use the bottom of my tomato paste can to smash the garlic cloves, and that helps the peel come off very easily. And then I just pop them into my garlic press. My ground beef has browned, and I'm just giving it a finishing chop so that it's nice small pieces. And then I'm adding in 3 cloves of the crushed garlic. Next, I used my turkey baster to drain any excess grease. This was 80-20 ground beef, so there was a little bit of extra fat to skim off. And then I'm adding in 1 tablespoon of tomato paste and then stirring that in until all the meat is coated. Then I let this continue to cook for a little bit, and the beef got a little bit crispy around the edges, which sort of mimics that kebab beef or lamb that you would get on a traditional gyro. Next, I'm making my tomato and cucumber relish. So I'm dicing up about half of a tomato and adding it to my mixing bowl with just a couple of tablespoons of onion that I had reserved that I didn't add to the ground beef earlier. Then I diced up half of a very large seedless cucumber. This component of the recipe resembles a Greek salad, so it's dressed with olive oil, red wine vinegar, and a little bit of pepper, and it adds great flavor and texture to the sandwich. Next, I'm working on the creamy yogurt sauce. So I'm taking the other half of that seedless cucumber and grating it up. And then I put it into a bowl that I lined with a paper towel and sprinkled salt over it, and then allowed it to sit for about 10 minutes. And this draws out any excess water in the cucumber, of which there is a lot, you will see. After about 10 minutes, you can wrap up the paper towel and squeeze out all that extra water. And this will ensure that your yogurt sauce stays nice and creamy and doesn't get too watery. So I'm saying yogurt sauce, but when I opened my fridge, I actually didn't have any plain Greek yogurt left. So I ended up substituting sour cream, and it worked out just fine. But if you want to prepare this according to the original recipe, you use a little bit of whole milk Greek yogurt. So in my bowl, I just had 1 clove of pressed garlic. I added in the sour cream, and then I squeezed out that cucumber and added that in. You could also add in some fresh or dried mint if you have it. And the original recipe says to add feta cheese into this sauce. I had it on hand, but I kept it separate because I didn't think all my kids would enjoy that. To assemble these sandwiches, you can use pita bread, naan bread, or flat bread. And then you can see here I have that crumbled feta cheese. And I just heated up the bread. You could put it in the microwave or warm it up in the oven a little bit wrapped in foil, just so it's soft and pliable. Then I added a couple of big scoops of my meat mixture and then a spoonful or 2 of the tomato and cucumber relish. And then this was my daughter's, so that's where it stopped. But when I assembled my sandwich, it got the works. So I started with a generous quantity of the creamy yogurt sauce, and then a couple spoonfuls of the meat mixture, the relish, and sprinkled some feta cheese on top. The first time I made these, I used the naan bread, and it was delicious. I also wanted to try the pita bread, and it was equally as delicious. So this was for lunch the next day. I made myself a whole wrap here with the sauce, the meat, all the leftover ingredients, and it was absolutely delicious. This dish was a hit with every single person in my family, all children included. They especially loved the seasoned beef. Let me know in the comments below if you try out this recipe. I think you're gonna love it. Thank you so much for joining me here today in my kitchen, and I'll see you again soon.